Should you do one-on-one coaching, group coaching, or just sell an online course? This decision is one of the biggest things that new coaches get wrong, and it has them focusing on the wrong strategies at the wrong time and end up not getting great results in their business. In this video, I'm going to give you a scientific framework for making the right decision for you based upon your audience size and how many clients you're getting per month right now. My name is Brian Elwood. I am the author of Nail Your Niche. This is the blueprint to building a six-figure coaching business. It's what I wish I had known on day one. And you can get a free PDF copy right now at nailyourniche.net. So here's been my experience as a coach. When I started out, I did one-on-one coaching. I was in the real estate investing space because my background is buying a bunch of houses, and then I taught other people how to do it for a long time. I wrote another book called Fire Yourself about real estate investing, and that was bringing me one-on-one clients. Now, it didn't take long for my calendar to get pretty full of calls with clients and then sales calls with potential clients. I was making probably 100 grand per year, but I was really busy and I felt like I was just sort of spinning my wheels. I wasn't actually growing a following on any social platform or growing an email list. And I knew I would never get out of that unless I found a way to get more leverage. So what I ultimately did was I prioritized completing a weekly podcast on real estate investing. And after a year, 2, 3 of doing that, I really started to get a lot of inbound leads from that podcast where people were just like ready to work with me. And so my demand grew, and then I was able to stop coaching one-on-one and just coach in a group. Every single week I was on a call with about 15 different clients. I was walking them through the process of buying their first rental properties. And because I had so many people that I was teaching, that's when I also started to add an online course to my offering. And that is what most of the big guru programs do now, actually, is they have a huge load of clients and they can't really teach them everything one-on-one. So they have a course that does the teaching. They deliver coaching in the group, but they also have a container for some one-on-one calls because that is a good thing to leave in. We're going to talk about that more in a moment. So here's the pros of each one. Number one, one-on-one coaching. That is arguably the best thing for the client because it's just you and them. There's no one else there. They can just be vulnerable with you and tell you what's going on, tell you their problems, their challenges, and you can sit there and ask enough questions to properly diagnose what they actually need. Whereas like on a group coaching call, the questions are often more surface level. You know, the coach might have 5 minutes with that person, but then they've got other people who have raised their hand. So really one-on-one is the cream of the crop. That is the upside of it. Obviously, the downside of it is it's the most time intensive and it's not scalable. Now, the pros of group coaching are that it's obviously scalable. You can put tons of people on a single call. And also there is a perk to learning together. Like if you're waiting to ask a question, somebody asks a question before you, and they ask like a question that you didn't even think about, but you're like, oh, I want to know what the answer to that is. That could end up being the most valuable thing you got from that call, just because someone else asked it. The downside, like we already talked about, is it's a bit more surface level and you can't really go deep with any one client. Now, courses are great because they're fully automated, they're scalable. You could sell 1 million of them in one day and everybody could be going through the course simultaneously. So it's like obviously the ultimate form of like robotic leverage. But the downside is that it's a course, you know, it's like a robot teaching your clients, and every person is different. They have different needs, they learn differently, they have different questions and things like that. So it's really impossible to make like the perfect course that leaves no holes or leaves no questions unanswered. So they've all got their pros and cons, but let's now get into a framework that you can use to actually decide how to make the decision on which one of these you're going to choose. It kind of comes down to the stage of business that you're in, your audience size, you know, how much demand you have. Like if you're a brand new coach and you just don't have any interest or much interest in your coaching program, then obviously you can't do group coaching because you can't gather a group of people that want to work with you quickly enough for it to even be a group. Also, if you have no audience, it doesn't really make sense to create an online course because there's no one waiting to buy it. You have no one to sell it to. You could put all your time into creating that course. This is what a lot of new coaches do. and then you might sell like one copy every 6 months. You got to decide if that's worth it for you. What I would tell you to do is to wait until you have a bigger audience and you've worked with a lot more clients. Then that course is going to be a lot better anyways, and then you can work on selling the course to the masses. When I was coaching an average of 15 people per week in my real estate group, they were always asking me for things, and then I would go and I would make a new training, I'd put it in the course, tell them all about it, and then they would be going through it, asking for more things. I'm going through updating, refining. Eventually, I made a really good real estate investing course. It's like over 30 hours long. And now I've put that on other platforms like Udemy, and I have like 70 or 80 people buying it per month. But it took me years and years of refining it down after I had had hundreds of clients actually go through my process for me to make a course that you could say, okay, this thing is complete and it can really teach someone how to buy a house on its own. So if you are a brand new coach or you are serving 4 or less clients per month, then I recommend that you stick with one-on-one coaching. If you're serving 5 clients per month or more, then it's time to switch to group coaching, and then you can also have a course to do the teaching, because when you're on those group calls, those are best reserved to do Q&A. And when someone has a question about like, well, how do I set up my, Instagram ad campaign? You say, well, that's module 3 video 2. It's an hour-long training where I show you exactly how to do it, and then they just go watch that. You wouldn't want to show them how to do that on a group call where you've got all these other people waiting to ask questions. So I hope that helps. And if you're a newer coach who still needs some help identifying their niche or who their ideal client is, I made a couple videos here to help you do that. These are deep dive trainings to help you make that decision right once and for all. So check those out. Thank you guys so much for being here. I'll see you in the next video.